Okay, so we're going to do another taste test this week. This week we've got Boylan Bottling Company's Birch Beer Soda. Soda Pop. So we're going to use our... I'm going to use the Undisputed Era's bottle opener that Chris Mace got us. Or got me. He's got his at home. Let's give this a try.
Tastes like root beer. Pretty tasty root beer.
Birch beer. Cool. Cool. So, what's the cold open?
Well, yeah, tonight, Pete Dunne, he defends his European Championship against Zack Gibson in the main event.
It's the United Kingdom Championship, jackass. Gentlemen, raise your beverages. It's an NXT party.
It's an NXT party, yeah.
It's a fucking...
Welcome everybody to the NXT party for the WWE United Kingdom Championship Tournament number 2, part 2. I am your host, the Rated R reviewer, Stefan Osborne. I can't believe I got through all of that. My co-host, as always, the General Jerry Slaughter.
Good evening, wrestling fans.
Our special awesome guest tonight, Colin Andrew, Mr. the Cleaver, with his European 24/7 Double or Nothing championship title.
What up, C-Truth?
What up? I said, what's up?
What's up?
There we go. How we doing, boys? It's good to be back. It's
It's good to have you back.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, fellas.
Pashow.
And we don't say that to everybody.
I know. Saint it.
So this show is going to be a whole bunch of matches that are kind of like dream matches that we didn't know that we wanted. I'm cool with this.
It was Worlds Collide before Worlds Collide was a thing.
Basically, we start the night off with an NXT Tag Team Championship match. At this point in time, the tag titles belong to the Undisputed Era, being defended by Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong because Bobby Fish had gone and hurt himself. He's fishing somewhere for fish to fry.
Fishing.
They are facing Moustache Mountain, Trent Seven, Tyler Bate, and if you don't think these guys are the baby faces in the match, I mean, Colin, what do you think about this opening match? Tag title.
This match had all the physicality that you could hope for from 4 outstanding competitors, in my opinion. This match was freaking badass. And you could definitely knew that Moustache Mountain had that hometown momentum going on, and it definitely showed. I mean, obviously we got, spoiler alert, folks, new tag team champions at the end of it, but you saw miscommunications between Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly. It was incredible. It was a hot fucking way to open the show. Like, I thought the 6-man on night 1 was great, but this was better, in my opinion. Way better.
Yeah, for us, that 6-man tag on the part 1 of this tournament was like out of nowhere, but friggin' awesome. Probably the best match of the night, and it had nothing to do with the tournament.
Nope.
Jerry, what did you think about the opening tag title match?
It's matches like these that make you realize that Tyler Bate is pretty much flawless in the ring.
Is he
like,
now?
He there's not one false move that he actually makes in this entire match. Trent Seven He actually looks formidable in this match as well. Kyle O'Reilly is just always awesome to watch, and Roderick Strong did his share of stuff, but he didn't do nearly as many backbreakers as he normally does. But the fans are loving it. Everybody was just eating it up, and this was kind of like the we're gonna go ahead and call it the summit of the Moustache Mountain like tag career, because after this everything was just downhill.
No, he called it the peak.
Yeah.
I called it the summit.
Yeah, but we agreed on summit because summit sounded better. There.
It is the top of a mountain. Anyway.
Israel Diaz, what's up?
What's up, Izzy?
So, well, Jerry's off getting 3/4 chubbed for Tyler Bate. I don't know. He was good in this match, but he was. This is Tyler Bate.
That's what I'm saying. Tyler Bate is just awesome in any match he's in.
I saw like one really cool thing out of Tyler Bate that I don't think we've seen since, where he picked up somebody. A deadlift German onto Roderick Strong while Kyle O'Reilly was on his back attempting a sleeper. So he drops him down and does a German to a deadlift German. Like he deadlifts him while O'Reilly's on his back. Oh, that was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know before that. 7 goes for an assist. Oh, so this was kind of funny. This was while Trent Seven and Tyler Bate had their momentum up. Trent Seven tags in and he gets Tyler Bate to clasp his hands and go to help him with an assisted, and he motions with his hands like he's going to do a flip.
Like a Mark Andrews like flip.
Yeah, like he's going to do a standing moonsault with the assist. Instead, he just comes down strong with the senton. And that was great.
That was just good.
That
was jolly good.
Seven ducks an axe and smash, and O'Reilly kicks Strong out of the ring, and then does the Peter Pan into the Snapdragon for the near fall. But Strong pushes Seven over, like he gets in the ring and physically pushes Trent Seven over the fall to break it all up. Let's see. O'Reilly hits a wicked brainbuster to Tyler Bate, and then they hit an axe.
He left the ground with it.
They actually nailed the axe and smash. Got a near fall though. Bate goes to take out Strong with the tope over the top rope, and we hit a 7-star lariat to O'Reilly in the ring. Picks him up for the burning hammer, and Tyler Bate comes off the top rope with, I think it's a knee, across the neck into the burning hammer for the 1, 2, 3, and they won the titles for like 4 days.
Yeah, I was about to say less than a week.
It was not long. But
they came back to America and lost them.
Here it be the summit of the mountain they call Moustache.
Mm-hmm.
But it was great. It was a great opening match. I dug it. We got an interview with Johnny Saint, who is making a new match for the show, and he's not talking to anybody that's interviewing him. He's talking to some invisible thing over here.
The teleprompter.
It'd be like if I hosted this show and I just stared off this direction for the whole show. This was what he was doing.
WWE
while being interviewed. He had like 3 mics, and they were all over here. And he's just like, so he makes a triple threat match for tonight. This triple threat match is going to determine the #1 contender, the next person to challenge whoever wins tonight in the UK Championship match. And the people he put in the match, Flash Morgan Webster, Travis Banks, and Mark Andrews. I'm thinking, this is interesting, because we saw NXT UK start, and Flash Morgan Webster and Mark Andrews are like the bestest of friends.
Yeah.
The bestest of bestest. And it doesn't look like it during this match.
No.
Let me say that much. But yeah, he just makes this match. This is going to happen. Meanwhile, we get Killer Kelly versus Charlie Morgan, and I'm like, who the fuck is Charlie Morgan? And why is Killer Kelly losing to somebody that just disappears? Frankly,
we saw Charlie Morgan on the first couple episodes of NXT UK, and she just jobbed, and then after that she retired, and that was it. So, like, basically, Killer Kelly has all the potential and all the awesomeness to be a competitor in the women's division and be awesome in it, but they just don't push her. So, and this is just another one of those situations where she just didn't win.
What do you think about this match, Colin?
Well, I mean, they kept the pace, decent takedowns, strikes. encounters to show off their, their technicalness, I guess. They both showed a lot of promise. I mean, Morgan got the reversal of the vertical suplex into a small package for the win. I mean, it wasn't super anything like to write home about. It was a good match, but when's the last time we seen Charlie Morgan? And
the
he
weird
didn't kill it.
They're really talking up Charlie Morgan as like this high flyer and whatnot. She didn't leave the ground really once.
No. I mean, she Morgan did show some sweet like flexibility during that Dragon Sleeper surfboard combo, like trying to get out of that. The way she got out of that, I will give her props on that because that looked a little painful.
Yes, it did. I think that was probably the highlight of the match for me.
For me, I feel like that's where the match should have ended. I think she should have tapped out to that. Because a Dragon Sleeper by itself, I've seen Dragon Sleepers with a grapevine. In this case, that surfboard with the legs, but then Dragon Sleeper up top. Dude, you would not be able to get out of that. All you'd be able to do is tap. Like, that's where it should have ended. But somehow she gets out of it and gets kicked out of the ring bicycle kicked out of the ring for her troubles. But somehow she gets back on top and hits a super kick and then a springboard. This was ugly as fuck, but best I can call it is a Cabrana with a twist into a senton. It was ugly, but it was something different. Anyway, yeah, she does that roll up out of, like, she gets lifted for the vertical, but then comes down, pulls it into an ugly roll up.
I was about to say, that wasn't even flying. That was like falling with style.
This was a cool down match.
Yes, it was.
That tag match that opened the show was
straight fire.
A lot. And this was just like, all right, let's chill for a moment. Before we have Mark Andrews and Travis Banks and Flash Morgan Webster come out for a #1 contenders match. But wait.
There's more.
There's more.
Billy Mays.
In this case, Johnny Saint, who he must have started taking some pills or something between then and now, because I think he seems a lot more coherent now than he did then.
Are you sure?
I'm not positive. Anyway, he's decided that he wants to make a change to this match. He's going to add somebody, and the person he adds is our favorite, weird, funny heel guy. He's just so lovable. It's crazy.
His first match back, I think, after injury.
I find out during this tournament that he was actually born in Iran? Or
Israel.
Iran or Iraq. Something like that. By birth, but then he moved to Scotland, and that's where he grew up. That's why he's got a Scottish accent.
Hey, we have pussy on here.
I think it was Iran. Anyway, he made this match fun, and only a way Noam Dar can make this match fun. Like the way that he escapes moves and puts moves on and trades them over, and just his overall cockiness in the ring. Just like if he's in trouble, like he's selling greatly the pain, but otherwise he always looks like he's in charge. Oh my God, the notes. Mandrews throws Webster into Banks into a DDT position, follows it up with a sliced bread that hits the sliced bread onto Banks, but then a DDT onto Webster, which was great. This isn't the first time we see, or the last time we see a move like this in some of these matches here. See, Mandrews lands on his feet off of Morgan trying to do a Frankensteiner to him, and then hits a Poison Rana for a near fall. Sick looking Poison Rana.
Poison Ranas are always great.
Before it was deemed a Poison Rana. Banks hits a slice of heaven to Flash Morgan Webster, and then goes for a Kiwi Crusher on Mandrews, and exactly how Jerry called it. He said, who's going to break General's Rule #1, and who's going to eat the Stun Dog Millionaire? And I thought it was going to be Noam Dar trying for a brain buster. He said, no, it's going to be off the Kiwi Crusher. Sure enough.
And it was a great looking reversal, too. They'll never learn, and I hope they never do.
Let's see. Banks dodges the fall to pieces, though, and Nova Roller, fucking Noam Dar gets in the ring and takes the win. It kind of didn't come out of nowhere, really, though. Like, it took a minute for him to get up.
Yep.
To land this, and he didn't put any spin to it or anything. He just ran into the kick. But whatever. Noam Dar wins, and come to remember, or Jerry did at least, This is going to be the main event for the first episode of NXT UK.
Noam Dar,
So,
yep, the champion.
Super weird time frame here. Colin, what do you think about this match?
Chipping notes here. I remember seeing Flash Morgan Webster pull off a very shitty Hurricane Rana. Like, his ankles weren't even touching. Like, you know what I mean? Like, how is you supposed to, like, whatever. Little side note, Christian was at ringside in this match. No.
Well, one would think he was there during all of the matches then, right?
Yeah, but they highlighted him during it. Banks surprisingly sold an injury. Shocker, Travis Banks injured from, the previous tapings. Oh, I know, right?
I'm surprised he made it there and it wasn't just a triple threat match.
Well, thank God, or he might have won the tournament.
Right?
Then he'd be in the main event of this show.
Oh.
Instead of losing in the...
It was cool to see Noam Dar come back. It was cool to see a change from a triple threat to a fatal four-way. And I'm still curious, I don't know if you guys are or not, but what is Flash Morgan Webster, what does he drive? Is it a scooter? Is it a Vespa? Is it a motorcycle? Like, what's the helmet for? You know what I mean?
He looks like a Vespa guy.
It's I'm
Does
guessing.
he ride in a sidecar, maybe? I mean, is he like a Robin? I don't know. Anyways. So.
Yeah, I don't imagine it's a motorcycle or even a crotch rocket. What do you think about the match, Jerry?
Anytime I see Flash Morgan Webster's intro, I scream the same thing over and over again. He needs to be a heel. He's got entirely too cool of a weapon with the helmet. He's he's completely cocky. He's got this complete swagger going down to the ring and everything. So I'm hoping after this whole coronavirus thing blows over, it's revealed that he attacked Mark Andrews and we finally get that feud. That would be great. This match, though, was beautiful, I think, from start to finish, because you had all sorts of conflicting styles in there. Because you had more striking coming out of Travis Banks. You had more flippy, spinny shit out of Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan Webster. And you had Noam Dar pretty much picking up pieces wherever he could. And the aftermatch beatdown just set the tone for the first ever tag feud that we had in NXT UK as well.
Cool. Cool. So, after match, Joe Coffey and Mark Coffey come down to the ring and start beating the shit out of everybody that's not Noam Dar, who's the only one who's left standing and is able to run away.
He contemplates going back down to the ring twice.
Yeah, he teases coming down to do something about it, but now he knows better. Fuck that.
That's entirely too much coffee.
They're all Scottish, right? They're brothers.
Too much Joe. Too much Joe.
Too much Joe. Too much Mark.
Too much Joe.
Meanwhile, backstage, Kathy Kelly's there with Wolfgang, and he's got a game plan for his match with Adam Cole for the North American title. Break his teeth, take his title. That's his game.
I'm about to say win. That should be anybody's game plan for any match, really.
That's next. Wolfgang versus Adam Cole, and a North American Championship match here, man. Who'd have thought it? What'd you think about the match, Colin?
Oh, when I went back and watched it, it was just weird seeing Adam Cole with the North American Championship since, he's had the NXT Championship for 340 days now. 341, somewhere around there.
340.
I thought it was, I mean, you got to think, man, Adam Cole is the heel in this match and is more over than freaking Wolfgang, who is kind of, as close as a hometown boy as you could be. You know what I mean? You're a fellow European wrestler, and so I noticed that. I thought it was a really good match. You never see a guy like Wolfgang do a swanton, and it never gets old. You know what I mean? His swanton looks great for a guy his size. He's definitely thinned down, I don't know. He's super fit now compared to what he was. I enjoyed it. I mean, I'd probably give it like a B match, B grade for the match, but there was really no build to it, though. That's the thing. I know this was like Worlds Collide before Worlds Collide happened, but sometimes if there's no build and it's for a title match, it just, if it's like there's no build and it's for a title, sometimes it just doesn't intrigue me as much. I like storylines. But anyways,
Jerry?
I can only assume there was a battle royal or something that made like Wolfgang the competitor for that match, probably over in Progress. They probably just had, or IW, like ICW, possibly. Who knows? But
he drew the short stick.
But pretty much, Adam Cole could walk into a fucking monastery and pretty much raise his fingers up in the air, and everybody would scream, "Adam Cole, baby!" break their like vow of silence. Okay, he's over in anywhere he goes, and this is one of those cases that showed it. Like this, laid the seeds for him becoming the NXT champion because he's just so over with everybody. It doesn't matter what he does. There's always going to be people that scream, "Adam Cole, baby." But the whole match was great. We got to see two variations of the Ushigoroshi, and the last one that he nailed on Wolfgang was just super impressive after just the beating that they gave each other throughout the match.
That's what they said. God damn it. So, the story for the match for me was that Wolfgang is like the king of the lung blower because he hits a fireman's carry into a running lung blower. He like runs and throws him out of the fireman's carry and drops him and somehow lands the knees to the gut just right. And that's just timing, man, I guess. He also counters a Panama Sunrise into a fucking lung blower. That was cool. See, he hits a wasteland and goes for that moonsault off the middle rope, but he misses and gets up though and turns Adam Cole inside out with a lariat, but then he goes for the swanton off the top, gets countered with the knees, and then a fucking what's the Ushigoroshi? That second Ushigoroshi. First one we saw come out of a fireman's carry, I think.
Yep, fireman's carry.
Second one came out of the vertical suplex, and then hit the last shot over towards the corner, rolled him up, 1, 2, 3, boom.
What was really great about the end of that match, though, is afterwards he did the Adam Cole baby thing. He's ready to leave, and they start chanting one more time. And you automatically assumed, yeah, he's just gonna walk out, because he's a heel.
No, he warmed up the crowd.
He warmed up the crowd first, and you would think he would just walk out afterwards. No, egomaniacal, just and you get the biggest Adam Cole baby that they've ever heard. Probably. And I was in Toronto.
Yeah.
Where they met Finn Balor.
Where is
Yeah, where's it at? There it is.
It's always right there.
Where we met Finn Balor that one time in Toronto. Toronto's amazing. I'm going to go back to Toronto as soon as I can fucking afford it.
Mm-hmm.
It's expensive. Anyway. Yeah, so of course Adam Cole was going to retain the title. It's all of like 2.5 months old at this point.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to lose it to Wolfgang, of all people. But it's still a good match.
Theoretically, it gives it kind of world title status, the fact that he actually defended overseas. So
backstage, we get a completely unnecessary interview with Moustache Mountain where they're just talking about how fucking happy they are. They've been together for like 3 or 4 years, and it's like, so you're the old guy, and that puts Tyler Bate at like 15, and you're tag teaming with him overseas. Anyway,
you dirty, dirty man.
Anyway, it was completely unnecessary. Maybe to fill time, but you got other matches to fill time with. Speaking of which, Velveteen Dream and EC3 in a tag match with Ricochet and Aleister Black debuting their tag team for the first time. This was a fun match until an ending that I knew was coming. I remembered this plot line watching NXT back then, even though I didn't watch the tournament. But anyway, Colin, what do you think about this match?
Well, right at the beginning, Velveteen Dream rips off his shirt and has one of Aleister Black's shirts on underneath him, and he goes to throw it at him, and Aleister catches it, and then he tags in EC3. So right off the rip, he's like, "Oh shit, I tried to fuck with you, and it didn't work out the way I wanted it to." It was always fun seeing Ricochet and Aleister Black as a tag team.
Mm-hmm.
I got to see them live at Fastlane 2019. So they did an awesome match. But shit, where was I? My bad, guys. My bad. We're live, folks.
We're live. Cosmic professionals.
Yes. That was a fun tag, but it just didn't live up to what it could have been. And EC3, really? I mean,
Yeah.
EC3 and Velveteen Dream? Like, really? Like,
NXT liked EC3 back then.
Yeah, but I mean,
what can I tell you?
He's not in the top 1% no more.
Mm-mm.
He don't even go here no more.
He don't even go here no more.
And no, but yeah, I mean, you know, at the end, Dream totally bailed on him, and then EC3 took a black mass, and you know, goes Trace. Peace. You know. It could have been. I just wish there was a different partner of Velveteen Dream because I felt it could have been a really, really good match. But I just am not huge on EC3. He's never really done anything besides be a big bodybuilder type character to me, and
that's all he needs to be.
Character. You know what I mean? I don't like those. I don't like those characters. So.
Well, he could have been anything, but the top 1% character just doesn't connect with fans, so they put him in at the wrong time. I think it's because he needed to be a heel, and they were trying to portray him as some of this weird baby face, and it just didn't work.
No, man.
So, what do you think about the match?
They were trying to make him into the dreaded cool heel, as Jericho calls them. Like, pretty much the heels that are over with the fans, like the NWO were, and stuff like that. But with this match, I couldn't really get too far into it because, same reason, Velveteen Dream, he's charismatic and he's a lot better as a heel, I think he is, than a face, because he's got the antagonizing down perfectly. But Aleister Black, seeing him with the championship belt, that was different for me because it's not something we've seen really since, and that's kind of depressing.
Well, we've had Adam Cole as the champ for a year.
What's that?
Shout out to Velveteen Dream for keeping that fucking headband on the entire match.
I was about to say that was a whole other skill level right there. I think he lost
back when Velveteen Dream was capable of keeping his clothes on.
Oh.
We're gonna get kicked off the air.
If you can keep your forehead covered through this whole match, couldn't you? Never mind. Anyway, what did you think about the match, Jerry?
The match itself.
We don't go there.
The match itself had every spot that I was expecting to see, and Ricochet flying everywhere, and the whole like double Indian style sit. That's always cool to see. So, and the fact that before this, I didn't know that Aleister Black and Ricochet had already teamed together. So this made it more special because now I'm like, okay, so they did tag together before the Dusty Classic, and that's why they were so in sync with each other. Was the fact that they'd already done it before. So.
In Britain.
Mm-hmm. In England.
The town.
Let's see.
England.
See, my first note here.
Europe?
Ricochet's going for a springboard into the ring from the apron, but instead Dream grabs his legs and pulls him and sends him face first into the ring apron, which is the hardest part of the ring.
Don't you know?
Don't you know?
Don't you know? Is there an echo in here?
Echo?
Let's see. At one point in the match, Dream grabs a chair outside, gets up on the apron like he's going to get in the ring, which I love some of these old school heel tactics where the ref is focusing on him now, so he doesn't see the hot tag happening behind him, and that gave EC3 enough time to pull Ricochet away from Aleister Black. That was fun. Aleister Black gets in off the tag, and ref's like, "Hey, I didn't see no tag. Get the fuck out." Even though Ricochet's right there.
You have to do that old school kind of thing while you're in England.
Let's see.
Europe?
Ricochet throws EC3 into Velveteen Dream in a DDT position, and like I said before, we see one of those moves. This is where he just hits a regular running neck breaker onto EC3, so he hits both moves onto both guys. Combo move, and then hot tag to Aleister Black, who comes in and kicks everybody, and then EC3 knocks Dream off the top rope somehow, like he's going up for the Purple Rainmaker, and EC3 gets up on the apron trying to get over to the corner, but he's grabbing the top rope because he's, fatigued or whatever, and it ends up knocking Dream down, and EC3 tags in, and Dream hits a super kick, and EC3 hits a Dirty Deeds, gets a near fall on Black, and then Dream gets in and hits a Dream Valley driver onto somebody, and then tags EC3, and then Ricochet does a running shooting star. And then Dream, meanwhile, is on the apron, and EC3 is going for a tag, and Dream just kind of limps away, like his legs hurt, so he's got to go. Gets down, leaves. And this leaves EC3 in the ring like, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? And he spends all his focus on Velveteen Dream leaving.
The gunslinger ending.
Gives Aleister Black enough time to get up, and he motions for him, and then eventually EC3 realizes, yeah, somebody's behind me. So he goes to swing his fist real quick to catch whoever it is, and catches a black mass to the face. 1, 2, 3. The good guys win, I guess.
I'm always about the gunslinger endings, and that's what you had with that one. Was the you had who was going to land the move first, but even though we already knew what was going to happen.
So speaking of unnecessary interviews, Toni Storm's backstage, and she's getting ready to face Shayna Baszler for the NXT Women's Championship. And she gets the same, tired-ass question from Kathy Kelly, what are you doing to prepare? And she just says she has already faced Shayna Baszler, and Baszler knows who she is, and therefore she's going to go win the belt. Basically, like literally.
Yeah, that's pretty much word for word what she says.
Garbage.
Blah, 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 face before, blah, blah, blah.
Muff cabbage.
My time, blah, blah, blah. Shiny, shiny.
Muff cabbage.
So, Toni Storm versus Shayna Baszler. This was an okay match. Not the best match I've seen out of Toni Storm by far, which says something about this match. I love Shayna Baszler, though, so it kind of balances out. It's decent. Mm-hmm. It's all right. It's all right.
It's all right.
What do you think about it, Jerry?
It's cute.
I'm more of a fan of Toni Storm back then than I am now. I think it's the fact that she got a little too high on herself, and it got really, really annoying really, really fast. I think the less studs that she has in her jacket, the more I could tolerate her. Because this is back then, she only had like a minimal amount of studs, almost like pieces of flair on her. But I'll give Toni Storm credit for this. I think she's got like the best German suplex out of any female competitor, like hands down. Her snap German is just excellent.
She does a lot of them, and eventually you can tell.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I've got a bunch of notes from this match. Baszler dodges a kick by Toni Storm outside, so she goes leg over the barricade, and then Baszler comes up, grabs her, and slams her back of the head down onto the mat, whatever, but still outside. Let's see. She drags her over to the steps, or not to the steps, in the ring. She does that Baszler stomp onto Storm's ankle, which is always fun to watch, and starts working over the ankle. And so this is the psychology, I guess, of the match. She's working over Toni Storm's leg for the whole thing. She hits an avalanche gutbuster suplex off the top for a near fall. But then they get up and trade, and Storm hits her with a headbutt and hits a Storm Zero, which at this point is an air raid crash. Garoshi over the knee, but that's that fucked up knee. And so it takes her forever to go for the pinfall, and she only gets the near fall. They get up and she hits a headbutt. Oh, no, wait. They get up and Baszler counters another Storm Zero attempt with that Kirifuda clutch. Now, Toni Storm makes it to the ropes, but Baszler follows her outside, locks in the Kirifuda clutch out there until the ref basically makes her get off. She gets up, gets in the ring, and there's a 10 count, and she wins via count out. So, cool. Cool. What do you think about the match, Colin?
I thought it was pretty decent. There was one spot in it when Shayna stomped down on the ankle. That scream that Toni let out was just like a little too like C-rated horror movie. You know what I mean? a little just.
Dude,
girl.
So is her frown that she wore out onto the stage at the very end of the show. Mm-hmm. That's where she debuted that stupid frown.
Don't go away mad. Just go away.
Frowny. I mean, it is what it is. I like the fact that afterwards, too, that Shayna Baszler popped in and choked her out. Like, just the ultimate fuck you, I guess.
I love how she went to the display thing. It was like, NXT UK, is this what you have?
This is the best of you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then they find Rhea Ripley, and well, we know how that turned out.
Turned out excellent.
Si, senors.
Because she came to NXT from NXT UK after already climbing to the top there at the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And number one.
Anyway, let's move on to the main event. In this case, it is the culmination of this entire tournament. So in part 0, I guess, round 1, we determined the top 8. That in part 2 determined the winner of the tournament who gets a contendership, a shot at the NXT UK champion or WWE United Kingdom champion Pete Dunne. In this case, it's Zack Gibson. So Zack Gibson versus Pete Dunne for the UK title. Awesome. Colin, your thoughts on the main event? You disappeared.
Where'd you go? Oh, that's awesome.
I'm like fucking magic. How'd that happen? Whoa. Constant professionals, folks.
Constant professionals.
I thought this was a fantastic main event. Right from the start, these guys just started beating the piss out of each other. Inside of the ring, outside of the ring, we saw Zack Gibson working on the arm of Pete Dunne. We saw Pete Dunne just trying to work on any body part he can get his hands on from Zack Gibson. This is one of those matches, again, when Pete Dunne wrestles, he can fly through the air.
Mm-hmm.
He can ground and pound. The brawler style, he can make you tap. He can manipulate any joint he wants. It's ridiculous how good Pizza is. Like, it is, I mean, shit. Wearing a Pete Dunne shirt right now. Didn't even plan that. First thing I grabbed out of the closet. No, straight up. First thing I grabbed out of the closet. Trust me, if I wanted to wear something, I'd do it. But, no, dude, I really enjoyed it. I was not expecting Zack Gibson to win the tournament, to be honest with you, but it makes sense. But it was still one of those awkward situations for me to see Pete Dunne as a face in the match, because he was just starting to really, make that face transition, make that hard turn into the face transition, because he came in, if the first night of the 2017 term was the first time you ever saw Pete Dunne, you knew he came in as a heel. And if you go back to his progress stuff, he was a heel. He was hardly ever a babyface, besides when he tag teamed with Damien. Whatever, back in the day. We're in the weeds. But, no, I thought it was a fantastic match. Pete Dunne picked up the victory. Triple H, Johnny Saints, they all came out, and the roster came out and did a little celebration at the end. I thought it was a fantastic match, which I would still like to see again on a one-on-one level, championship or no championship involved. I would just like to see a redemption match, just because they're so good. You know what I mean? They are.
Jerry?
A couple things. One, Pete Dunne, as well as wrestlers, that doesn't matter if he's a heel or a face, because he pretty much portrays the same way, except for he doesn't do sneak attacks on people. Like, the only time he ever did, the only thing that separated his heel days from his face ones is when he was actually doing any kind of sneak attack, when he leveled that one.
Crime, Will.
Yeah. So, and Zack Gibson is quite possibly the most over heel in wrestling at this point. Seriously, he would just kind of look at the crowd and they'd automatically start booing or just chanting at him. And I was like, you hear that? That's the sound of a heel being over without even trying. And the whole match itself was just brilliant. You had a whole bunch of Pete Dunne getting his arm worked over, because he had to kick out Shankly Gates, at least once or twice, to make it even more a credible move and to build more tension in the match. For fuck's sake, I knew who was going to win the match, but my heart was pounding the entire last 5 minutes of this match. So it was just great. I loved it.
Yeah, this was a great, well-rounded match. As you said, Gibson worked over Dunne's arm, prepping for that Shankly Gates, because he's won all of the matches in this tournament up to this point with the Shankly Gates.
Mm-hmm.
That's not to say he didn't try with other shit. He hit a helter-skelter off the middle rope that, man, that could have won him the match.
Oh, the reversal of that into the bitter end on the ramp, that stuck too.
Yeah, but he starts working over Dunne. He trips him onto the apron, the hardest part of the ring.
Don't you know?
And, don't you know? And he grabs him up and puts him shoulder first, does this weird sort of half suplex into the barricade. And every time he does something to the left shoulder, it seems like Pete Dunne's actually taking it to the right shoulder. Like several times he throws him into the steps, but it looks like Pete Dunne's more like, I don't know. But he's still on the left arm, so, you know, whatevs. In the ring somewhere, he goes for that double chop to the neck, and Pete Dunne blocks it, does a wicked headbutt, pulls him right into it. Let's see, Gibson counters Kimura lock with the helter-skelter, but is immediately countered into he drops Gibson and then double stomps him on the face. Like the Finn Balor double stomp, no, to the face though, not to the midsection. That was like jarring. That hurt my soul.
That was hard to watch.
Let's see, Dunne hits a moonsault and a reverse DDT outside onto Gibson, and then this is where Gibson picks him up and throws him shoulder first into the steps, takes him over to the ramp, and goes for the helter-skelter, but Dunne counters it and hits an X-Plex onto the ramp. And they both just barely beat the 10 count back into the ring. Let's see. So they trade moves here. We get a ticket to ride out of Gibson, a step up enziguri by Pete Dunne. Mm-hmm. And then they both hit, what do they hit? Some kind of kicks or something. Oh, both hit headbutts.
Yeah.
And they are both down. And now it's time for the breakdown.
Never gonna get it, never gonna
Oh no, they
get
traded lariats. I'm sorry.
Never gonna get it.
Now they trade joint manipulation. One guy's got one hand, one guy's got the other. And then they start hitting headbutts on each other and trading those until both go down. And Gibson almost gets a pin on Dunne here, but he kind of rolls away. But he still has hold of the left hand. And he goes to get up, and Pete Dunne grabs him and goes for some joint manipulation. And it ends up with a German suplex into a bitter end for a near fall. So Pete Dunne kicks out of the first bitter end.
Or Zack Gibson did.
Yeah, Gibson did. And then we get a ticket to ride off the middle rope for a near fall into a Shankly Gates. And then Pete Dunne gets out of the Shankly Gates. And then we hit it. That's where he hits the Avalanche Helter-Skelter for a near fall. And then back into the Shankly Gates. And then Pete Dunne makes it to the ropes again, and Gibson backs off, but then he goes in and starts pointing at him and saying, "I'm Liverpool's number one," and holding up that number one, and he hold that number one up too long, and Pete Dunne grabs it up and does that
finger break,
that wishbone split, and then Gibson goes up to the middle rope, comes off, and catches a forearm to the face and a bitter end. This time the pinfall strikes. 1, 2, 3. Pete Dunne wins. Of course,
you just saw that the forearm coming though, because you saw Pete Dunne was just sick of this shit.
And then Triple H and all of the NXT UK roster thus far come out to the stage, and we see Toni Storm and her frown. We also see a very tasty looking Isla Dawn. Just if it's worth watching the end of that show, I'm telling. Anyway. Triple H gets on the mic and he talks to the crowd, said, "This is your time, this is your brand, this is NXT," and we go off the air. That was the main event, and here on the NXT party, we like to rate the main event using whatever the fuck we're drinking. So NX soda,
birch beer,
5 spots of whatever. So Colin, special guest, out of 5 slurps of water. What do you rate the main event for this?
I don't do caffeine, man.
These are caffeine free.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. What do I rate the main event? What do I rate this main event? I'm going to start with 4. That's where we start. Okay? Mm-hmm. That's what I'm going to do. Okay. And then I'm going to add a quarter star because of how well these two bounced off each other. And the rest of the show was pretty damn good. And also, I'm going to add another quarter star, or a quarter spot, whatever the hell we're doing here.
Quarter gold.
What show is this again?
Right.
We don't even know anymore.
I'm gonna go with a 4 3/4. I really enjoyed the main event. I really enjoyed the opening match very much. The Tag Team Championship match. I really, really, really enjoyed that. So I give alone another quarter star just because of that match. It was an overall good event. So
he's giving out free stars everywhere. He's Oprah with the fucking stars.
You get an extra slurp. You get an extra slurp.
I'm gonna stop him at 4 3/4 before he overhypes this fucking match, Jerry.
That's where I'm at. 4 3/4. That's where I was ending.
Yeah, that's where you stopped. You stopped at 4 3/4. This was not a 5-star match.
Where are you stopping, Jerry?
I'm gonna stop at 4.5, and it's coming off of like a 4 for the main event itself, another quarter for what he even said, the Moustache Mountain versus Undisputed Era match was just anytime they get put in a big match scenario, like you look at this match and then you look at the first NXT UK Takeover match, and Moustache Mountain pretty much stole the show on both those scenarios. So you get 4 1/4 right there, and then the rest of the show, it was all right. But I think it's the fact that like I'm feeling a little bit nostalgic at the fact that now we're completely caught up, and good for us. So I gave us an extra quarter star just because of that.
I'm going to agree that it's a great match. I'm going to start it at 4, and I'm going to end the match itself at 4 1/4, just because of the story of the attack on Pete Dunne's arm. It really worked out well throughout the match.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I'm not going to give it any extra stars, man, because the show itself, if this is a pay-per-view, which this probably occurred on a Saturday or Sunday night, if this is an NXT pay-per-view, and they started the show with the NXT intro, then it's meh. It's okay. It's good. An NXT pay-per-view has 4 or 5 matches that are fucking awesome. Every last one of them, and this was not that.
I was about to say Charlie Morgan versus Killer Kelly kind of killed it.
Yeah.
I don't feel this show deserves giving an extra quarter to anything, but I feel like 4 1/4 is where the match itself
4 1/4 is brilliant.
Yeah, it was just above just regular great. It was a little better than great, so 4 1/4. Why not?
It's better than bad. It's good.
4 1/4 gulps of birch beer.
I'm all out birch beer.
Gulp. So that brings us to the end of this episode of the NXT Party. Thank you for joining us. Please join us next week. We will review NXT on USA Live. So we will have a show for that. I have no fucking clue what we are going to do for NXT UK if there is not a show to be had.
I brought up the idea of possibly just doing a Q&A. Just open up the lines, talk to anybody and everything about NXT UK.
A general discussion.
A general discussion.
About wrestling.
I like that.
So we might do a number of things, but for sure we will try to have a show next week this time, even if it is not about NXT UK. Maybe it'll be about something more fun. Maybe we can get you guys on the show.
We talk about anything and everything, and we'll have plenty of time to promote it.
Meanwhile, if you'd like to join us on the show, you can leave down in the comments a way for us to get a hold of you. You can get a hold of us. You can get a hold of Colin. He runs many of our channels and many of his own channels. Colin, where can they find you on your many channels?
That's a lot of channeling.
All right. So we're going to start on the YouTube. You can find me, the Cleaver Colin Andrew. You can follow me on Twitter at NoDQ Colin Andrew and on Instagram at Colin26Andrew. You can follow us as a whole on Instagram at aftermatch_wrestling, and then on Twitter as well at aftermatchrest. That's WREST. We take the ling out of wrestling.
Whatever the fuck that means.
So follow us there. Tell your friends. Tell your postman, your dog, your Walmart cashier, whoever. You never know. You never know who likes wrestling. I walked into my hardware store the other day, and there was a dude wearing a AEW shirt, and I walked into O'Reilly's, and there was a dude wearing an NXT shirt, NXT UK shirt, I should say. Mm-hmm. So you never know. So keep supporting, and shout out to the Jeff Meacham Network as well. So thanks for having me on again, boys. That's all the plugs.
Yeah, if you guys missed it, Jeff Meacham joined us for What's NXT. The first time we've ever had a guest, but who better than Jeff Meacham?
We've actually got 60+ views off that show so far.
Yeah, it's nuts. But yeah, if you missed the show and would like to see it, we review NXT from this week on USA, and we did it with Jeff Meacham. So there you go. So enjoy the show. If you've got something that you want to watch next, that would be my suggestion. Excuse me, that birch beer.
Or the prediction video we just did a few minutes ago too.
Yeah. Meanwhile, thank you for joining us on this show. You can find me on Twitter at Stefan R. Osborne. That's StefanRosborne. As always, both those R's, all the R's stand for restricted. I need to get rid of that. It just takes too long. You can also find the General on Fuckbomb on Twitter as well.
At General @General_JSJ, and my Facebook group RBAR, all capital ARMBAR, exclamation point. It's on a t-shirt now. I'm gonna start plugging that like crazy after I get the link and everything. So
yeah. Oh, Colin plugged all the rest of them. So
yep,
there's Armbar and Aftermatch on Facebook.
Except for your Instagram.
Me on Instagram at osborne.stefan and him on Instagram at
_gentleman_slaughter.
And we have a Patreon at Stefan R. Osborne if you'd like to help the channel out. But more so, if you have a few seconds. If you've made it this far, you probably have a few seconds, and we will give you the time to do it. Maybe we'll tell a stupid story. Oh, I've got a great story. Okay, so when I go into my story, you've got time to click the like button over here. If you like this, if you like this episode, if you like this show, just hit the thumbs up. If you don't like it, hit the thumbs down. You know what? I'll be fair. If you don't like it, hit the thumbs down. Shit. If you've got time, at least you know you're being involved. If you like all of our shows, like if you watched a bunch of our shows and you like them all and you're not subscribed yet, I don't know why you wouldn't be.
Why not?
If you're not, subscribe yourself over there underneath Jerry. And if you want to help our channel grow, that's the best time that you can give us. There's a share button down there. And if you share us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, if you just do it real quick with the links, no description, whatever.
Or Reddit, whatever.
Somebody that likes wrestling might see it. They might click it. They might like to watch us fucking bullshit about the shows. So if you can do that for me, I've got a great story for you. It's probably not great. Some of you might think it's terrible. Okay, so I took a drive the other day. And there's this back road that I like to take because in my town, occasionally there's these crazy back roads that are 55 miles an hour. And to give you a scope on this, several of the highways, actual highways in our town and county are 55 miles an hour. This is one of those twisty-ass back roads. I like to drive it because it's fun as fuck. Crank the music, whatever. So I come up on, there's something going on in the road. There's a whole bunch of these buzzards and maybe vultures. And there's a car coming the other way. And he gets to the vultures first and they scatter. But it's like this beautiful arc of them going with each other. And half of them go one way, you know, over towards the house. And then some of them come across the other way, across my side of the road. And as I'm going under them, instead of going away, they decide to swoop back down. And I guess because they all do the same shit, like they all did it. And like 2 or 3 of them made it, cleared my car, but one of them, I just tagged the fuck out of it with my front light, the corner of my truck. And I saw it go, it tumbled and thudded across the road onto the side of the other side of the street. And I thought I killed it because there was some feather explosion, not like you would see in a crazy movie or something where it all goes, but there was definitely a bunch of feathers that flew into my windshield. But this particular road, there's some construction or something going on, so I end up U-turning it at the end and coming back. It's a fun road anyway. So I come back, decide to see if this bird is dead or not, and I come up on it and it looks like it's dead. So I go to drive around it. And I look, and no, it's moving around. It is not dead, but it is fatally wounded.
Moral of the story, don't follow the buzzards.
Yeah, don't follow the buzzards. I probably should have ran over it and put it out of its misery, because the rest of the buzzards were still around. They were waiting on it to die so they could engage in cannibalism.
It's like, Frank, what about Frank?
Fuck, Frank, he's dead.
Dufresne's part 3.
Fucking Frank.
I don't know. I would have never thought they would have swooped back down like that, but they did. And it was really cool to see coming across the windshield. And then the thump and the...
You're going to get a letter in the mail relatively soon that says, I know what you did last spring.
I know what you did. Last porn times. So I gave you all that story, whether you loved it, whether you hated it, whether it was indifferent to you. If you took the time to listen, I hope you took the time to share and like and subscribe and all of that. So thank you for joining us. Anything in the chat room? Nope.
Absolutely.
Our already guest says, sliced bread. And if you're still with us, hello, Israel. Actually, we have 5 people with us. Listen through that story. I hope you liked it. And I hope you were clicking all those buttons and everything. So I appreciate it. For the Cleaver, Colin Andrew. For the Gentleman, the General, Jerry Slaughter. I am the Wizard. I am the Rated R Reviewer. I'm a lot of things. Mostly, I am grateful to all of you. Thank you for joining us and having a spot of NX Drank. And we will see you in NXT time.
NX Drank. Wrestle Drank.